الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين حبيب إله العالمين أبا القاسم مصطفى محمد
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد
وعلى آله الطيبين الطاهرين ولعنة الله دائما على أعدائهم أجمعين. Tonight, surely is the one of the important and certain nights. Actually, this night, which is called part1, it's the night which is called for the night of HUJATUL, beloved son of Hussein, of Imam Ali alayhi salam, beloved brother of Imam Hussein alayhi salam. We will shed more tears tonight. We will cry more for Abbas tonight. We are going to talk about Abbas. Who is Abbas? When it comes to these two significant nights, Ashura and Ashura, it's very difficult to explain, to talk, to tell people about the great job which these two people have done. These two noble human beings, these two angels in the form of human beings, even more greater than angels. Definitely we have a lot of proof that these are better than angels. How? What is your proof that these people are better than angels? Because we have lots of these lots of narration documents that angels are proud to serve these two people, to work for these two people. Not only for these two people, only just to work, to serve their holy shrine. And that is why we have lots of hadiths from MOOSAVI, other Imam, that angels, especially some certain nights, the night of Jumu'ah, for example, they come down and they not only serve these two people, they serve the visitor, the za'ir of these two people as well. If you visit the holy shrine of Abbas, if you visit the holy shrine of Imam Hussein, you are the za'ir of this, visitor of this holy shrine, according to the hadith of the Prophet and other A'immah. Angels will serve you and they will be proud to serve you. If they will be proud to serve you, definitely it's a good sign for us that this person who you visit his holy shrine, is much, much greater than the angels. So angels are in the, if you remember, the nights of Qadr, we used to recite this surah, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, Inna anzalnahu fi laylatil qadr. Wa ma adraka ma laylatul qadr. Laylatul qadr khayrun min alf shahr. تنزل الملائكة والروح فيها بإذن ربهم من كل أمر. According to this surah, not only malaika, angels, even the greatest one, Ruh, the great angel, Tanazzal will come down, will come to the earth. Tanazzal al-malaikatu war-ruh fiha bi-idhni rabbihim, with the permission of their Lord. They come here. Where they go? Where is their destination? Are they going to come to visit me or to see you? Or according to the hadith, they are going to come to sit with insan al-kamil, perfect human being. Who is the perfect human being? This is the hadith. According to the hadith, Imam or the Prophet is the insan al-kamil. So angels come from, according to the Quran, angels come from the sky, or wherever, comes to these earth. Hussein is among these insan al-kamil. So these angels come to serve him. Definitely his situation, his position is much greater, bigger than the position of the angels. That's why we are asked just to cry for Hussein. If we cannot cry, make ourselves like a crying person. To make other people to cry for Hussein. Because for every drop of tears that you shed, if this tear comes out with a proper knowledge of you regarding your Aimma, your Imam, it calls you to lead you to go to paradise, heaven. وَجَبَ لَهُ الْجَنَّةِ. وَجَبَ لَهُ الْجَنَّةِ means Jannah is wajib. Of course, perhaps we cry for our dead people, father, mother, family. And this cry, we shed lots of tears, will not happen anything. Because this sort of tears which we shed, it's not for the sake of Allah. Because our heart is broken, or if we feel sad, we cry for our father or mother or some other. That is why it's advised, highly is advised, recommended, that if anyhow you cry, try to cry for Hussein. You remember your father, cry for Hussein. You remember your mother, cry for Hussein. Why? Because at the same time you can cry your father, but you will earn the reward of crying for Hussein. Only crying for Hussein has got reward. Why? Because in this cry you will get a lump sum lesson. If you cry for Hussein, you will ask yourself, what's the point of crying for Hussein? Why we should do matam every night? Why we should just hit ourselves, our chest for every night? This sort of question will give you some kind of answer later. Because you're going to ask yourself, you're going to ask other people, what's the point? Why do you have to cry? If you go there, then you are going to study about the events of Karbala. Then you are going to start studying the tragedy of Karbala. What's wrong with Hussein? Why he put himself in tahluka? In the Quran we have, don't put yourself in death by your own hands. This is the ayah of Quran. Don't put yourself in tahluka, in danger, by your own hands. You may ask, so Hussein did not recite Quran properly? Why he put himself in tahluka, himself in danger? Not only himself, his family as well. Not only the family, his companion as well, the children. Not only killed, they are killed, but the alive one, the people who left behind, they were captured. They became like Asir. So why? These are the things which these tears leads you to know. You cry, but you may ask yourself, what's the point of this crying? If it will not change my life, if I could not change my situation, 10 nights, it's not enough, 1 month, 1 year. Whole life is not enough sometimes. Because we have lots of people from whole life, their own life. They know Hussein and they cry for Hussein, but at the same time their life has not changed anyhow in a better form. It means they just shed tears, but they did not think about their action. Why? You may ask. So, there are lots of lessons in these tragic events. How many of these lessons we could get? How many of these lessons already we have taken and we passed this lesson? Sometimes we may know about the lesson. Sometimes we can get some lesson from the different things which happen in our life or the history. We will learn something, but we will not pass this exam. Isn't it? You're a student of the college, you know how many lessons you had and how many of these lessons you passed. This is important. Passing the exam is important. Sometimes we can get some lessons, but when it comes to the action, when it comes to performing according or to acting according to what we learned, we may fail. It happened in the history of Karbala as well. I'm going to quote to some certain lesson tonight, and the people who could not pass this exam from both sides, friends and enemies. Don't think if we are a friend of Hussein, we will be safe forever. Even without going, without following the Hussein. Of course not. If we follow Hussein, if we follow the lesson of Karbala, if we follow the lesson which Hussein tried to teach us, of course, we will be saved. But if we just listen to this word, and then put from one ear and take out from another ear, that's not the point. That's why I say, from both sides, friends and enemy, some of them they could get the lesson, they passed the exam. And some, unfortunately, some of them they could not get the lesson, and some other, they got the lesson, they learned, but they could not pass. I'll give you some example. When it comes to Hussein, the first reaction of Hussein after the death of Muawiyah, of course, Muawiyah, he appointed his son Yazid as a Khalifa. He was the Khalifa of Muslims. He asked the governor of Medina to get bay'ah elegant from all people of Medina. Whoever ready to do bay'ah, okay, safe. If they are not ready to shake hands with Hussein, the blood will be shed. Means no more chance to be alive. Hussein was among them. He has two options. He has two options. Either shake hands with Yazid, get a good position, perhaps money, castle, wives, garden, whatsoever in this world we wish to have, he could get. The same thing happened to his grandfather as well. If you remember, if you go to history, when people of Mecca came to his uncle Abu Talib You know the story. People of Mecca came to Abu Talib, the uncle of the Prophet Muhammad, and asked him, "Oh Abu Talib, you are a very, very respectful man among us. We respect you a lot. But tell your nephew, son of your brother, Muhammad is his nephew. So tell him, we are not going to allow him to preach or to teach people regarding the new religion that he brought, which is Islam. Tell him, what does he want? What does he want? Does he like to have a castle? We will give him. He wants to have lots of women? We will give him. He wants to have lots of money? We will give him. Whatsoever he wants, we will give him. Just ask him to live his da'wah. His tabligh. He's calling people for the sake of Allah. You know what was the answer of the Prophet? Of course, some of you may know. The answer of the Prophet was so exciting and surprising for us. This was the lesson which Hussein got from his grandfather. Prophet said to his uncle Abu Talib, you know Abu Talib, now majority of Muslims, they believe that he was kafir. He was not Muslim. Imagine if they are upset of Ali, they cannot say anything regarding Ali because nobody can deny that he was the first Muslim. Simply they say, oh, his father was a Muslim. We are not going to talk about that later. So then he said to his uncle, the Prophet said to his uncle, oh my dear uncle, you know what I'm doing, what I'm going to do. And where is my da'wah come from? Where's my da'wah? And you just inform these people. If, imagine, listen carefully to the answer of Prophet. Then we will see the same answer to Hussein. He said, tell to these people, if they could put sun in my right hand and moon on my left hand, just ask me to leave my da'wah, my calling people towards Allah, I never will. Imagine, sun in right hand, moon in left hand. This, of course, we know it's not possible, is it? But what does it mean? It means, even if such a great thing you could do it for me, I never forget about my da'wah. So, if you threaten me, or you're going to kill me, doesn't matter. Then, let's go back to Hussein, what Hussein answered to the governor of Medina. When the governor asked him, oh Hussein, you know how much I respect you. Of course, the governor of Medina used to respect Hussein a lot. Because Hussein, everybody knew that Hussein is the grandson of the Prophet. He is the son of Ali, Amir al-Mu'minin, Khalifa, according to most of the Muslims even at that time. Ali was a Khalifa, and according to the Ahlul Bayt was an Imam. So, in both sides, whether it's Khalifa or Imam, he was a respectful man. He was the son of such a great man. He was the son of a great lady in the world, Fatima Zahra. So everybody respected him. He respected him. So the governor said to him, oh Hussein, you know how much respect I have for you. I respect you a lot, but you know, I have no any other choice. What can I do? this is the last decision of the Khalifa. The Khalifa asked me, either you go for bay'ah, shake hand with Yazid, accept his Khilafah, or we have to kill you. Then, you know the answer, because all of the lecturers, they may talk about this. I'm not going to repeat the answer, but only one part of the answer which it affects on his, it will give us a proper lesson about his action and has got a very strong connection with the answer of his grandfather. He said, Allah, إن الدعي وابن الدعي قد ركضني بين اثنتين بين الذلة والذلة حيحاط من الذلة. Look at that. This حيحاط من الذلة now became as a part of special saying which is called shu'ar. Shu'ar means that's a special word when you are going to just have a gathering or attack or anything. People in the army, normally they use some certain words. Okay? This word was very common among the people who came after the event of Karbala. Most of them, their shu'ar was hayhat min al-dhillah. He said, Allah, inna da'i. Da'i, it's a very bad name for a person whose work is zina. Adultery. Whose work means he used to, the one who used to do zina, adultery. It's called da'i. Allah, inna da'i wa ibn da'i. He's the person who does zina. And he is the son of da'i as well. Means he himself is da'i and his father is da'i as well. Means these two people, Yazid and Muawiyah. Allah inna da'i wa ibn da'i, the son of da'i, qad rakadani bayna satain. They put me between two things. Means they gave me only two options. Imagine if in the case of Prophet, in the case of Mushrikeen of Mecca, at least he said, oh, I will not let you go and ask your nephew just to keep quiet, leave his da'wah. But they did not threaten this, otherwise we kill him. But in this case, it says, Imam says, Allah inna da'i wa ibn da'i qad rakadani bayna sanatayn. This person who himself is Zani and his father is Zani, he put me in two things. Zilla or Dhilla. When it's come to the Zilla, the best word for the Dhilla is humiliation. Humiliation, for example, if somebody doesn't care about you, and he does not know your value at all, and if he feels that you are just like an animal, he is humiliated. Okay? So Imam said, this person put me in two things. Sallam is either I should die or I should go for humiliation. Imagine, in reality it was like this, but apparently it was not like that. Yazid said to him, either shake hand with me, do bay'ah, or you should be killed. Shake hand with Yazid, apparently it's not zillah, is it? Apparently it's being like a king of the king, being like owner of a castle, being of the owner of lots of camel, horses, many things, gardens, anything. But in reality, Hussein knows what does it mean. Means being under the authority of Yazid is equal to the humiliation. Then he said, Hayhat min zillah. Means the zillah, humiliation, is so far from me and from my family. Means I never go to the humiliation. What does it mean? It means I am proud to accept debt. To be done it. I'm ready. If he said, I'm not going to do bay'ah, what does it mean? In other words, what does it mean? It means I don't care about my debt. Why he was not care about it? This is another lesson for us. Why he was not careful about it? It's like death. Let me take you to, bring you all to some part of the world. Surah Jum'ah. When Yahud are talking to other, either Christian or some other groups, they used to call themselves the best people in the world. Best people in the world. They said, we are the best people. Why? Because Allah loves us. Allah loves us. In this part, Allah will answer them. Allah says in Surah Jum'ah, ayah 6, قُلْ يَا أَيُّهَا الَّذِينَ هَادُوا إِنْ زَعَمْتُمْ أَنَّكُمْ أَوْلِيَاءُ اللَّهِ مِنْ دُونِ النَّاسِ فَتَمَنَّوُا الْمَوْتَ إِنْ كُنْتُمْ صَادِقِينَ. See, how great is that? These people, the Yahud, they say, Allah loves us, we are awliyaullah. Awliyaullah means, awliya is a plural form of wali. Waliullah means the friends of Allah. Awliyaullah means we are friends of Allah. Allah says, if you want to prove really that you are the wali of Allah, فَتَمَنَّوُا الْمَوْتِ, go for death. Don't be afraid of death. Challenge them. Allah challenges the Jew for asking for death. See, if you're right, if really Allah loves you, why are you afraid of your death? فَتَمَنَّوُا الْمَوْتِ, ask for maut. Go for death. Don't be afraid of death. Doesn't matter whether, you are going to die here or somewhere else, as long as it's order of Allah, you go for it. In kuntum law, in kuntum salih. And then Allah said, وَلَا يَتَمَنَّوْنَهُ أَبَدًا. They never go. They never go. Now let's go back to Hussein. إِن كُنتُمْ أَوْلِيَاءَ اللَّهِ فَتَمَنَّوُا الْمَوْتِ. Now Hussein said, oh Allah, I can claim that I am Waliullah because I'm not afraid of death. Let me tell you this hadith which Hussein always used to tell to the people. He used to say, كَتَبَ اللَّهُ الْمَوْتَ عَلَى ابْنِ آدَمَ, means death is written for everyone. It's written, means it's wajib. Nobody can escape from death. Isn't it? In the ayah, Quran say, إِنَّكَ مَيِّتٌ وَإِنَّهُمْ مَيِّتُونَ. O prophets, you will die. All of the human beings will die. So it's written for human beings. So why we should be afraid of it? And no soul can escape it. Again he said, death is an adornment of life. Look at these words he used. Death is an adornment of life as a necklace is an adornment of a beautiful woman. Normally, ladies, they wear some kind of jewelry. You cannot find ladies normally with all these necklaces. It means, this is an example, it means you cannot find any human being without this. So this is there. But this is your option to choose the way or the form of your death. Death is coming, whether you want or not. Either you will have an accident with the car, or like airplane accident, or anyhow, or we will be sick and then end of the story will die, or somebody will shoot us, will die, or explosion. Anyhow, the death will come. No way for escape. But the only thing which we can, the way of receiving the death is now. This is what always Imam Hussein alayhi salam used to ask people. Used to ask people, there is no any way of escaping the death. Try to put your death on the right path. In the day of Ashura, Imam Hussein alayhi salam, on the way of Karbala, from Mecca to Karbala, when the caravan of Hussein with the family was going, they were going towards the Karbala. In one certain place, Imam Hussein alayhi salam, he was on the horse, riding the horse. Suddenly he said, Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. You know, this word normally people they use when they are facing with death. If, for example, you've heard somebody's died, you say, Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. All of us are from Allah and we go towards Allah. So this ayah almost is a sign for the death. He said, Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. His beloved son, Ali Akbar. Probably he was in your age, maybe a few years older, but not definitely younger than you. 20 up to 28 years old. He was, according to the narration, according to the hadith, أشبه الناس خلقا وخلقا برسول الله. Ashbah means he looks like a prophet, خلقا وخلقا, from his manner, from the point of his manner, أخلاق, and his khalq, his shape. Everything just was like prophet. And that's why Imam Hussein always used to say, whenever we missed prophet, we wanted to see the prophet, we used to ask, oh Ali Akbar, just walk around. We want to see you and we want to remember the prophet. This person, this beloved son, he was behind of the father. And he said, oh father, aren't we on the right path? Aren't we true? We are in the right path. See the question? The human being, the son, should be clever. In any case, you should get your answer. He could ask, oh father, what's happened? What's wrong with you? Why you're reciting this ayah? The death is coming, escaping. But he said, oh father, what's wrong? What happened? Why you recited this ayah? The father said to Ali Akbar, now I just felt a nap. Small, very short, like sleeping. I was writing, I felt a nap. I've heard that somebody is calling, saying, this caravan, the caravan, this caravan is going, but the death is following them. So that's why I said, no. Look at the answer of the Ali Akbar. Ali Akbar says, oh Father, you are at that top. Oh Father, aren't we right path? We are not in right path? Father said, yes, we are in right path. Then Ali Akbar said, no matter whether death comes to us or we approach, whether we go to the death or death is coming. When the Imam replied him, Ali Akbar said, then it makes no difference if death comes to us or if we approach it. That's it. This is the lesson which we have to get from Karbala. But some people, because they were afraid of that, they thought perhaps they can save their life forever. They could not go help Hussein. Even they would call themselves as a Shia to Ali ibn Abi Talib. From both sides. As I said, from both sides. Shia Sunni. One of the most important things is to know the value of your time. Some action needs to be, have been taken on time. If the action, you have an action but not on time, there is no point for that. Imam Hussein al-Islam used to ask, during the time when he was going from Medina to Mecca and then from Mecca to Karbala, he used to ask people, whoever can help me must help, should help. Otherwise, he will not get a right way for life. He will not get in happiness in his life. He will be in humiliation. His life will be under the humiliation. I'll give you some example. How? This is the prediction of Imam al-Islam. Some people, when they have heard asking of Hussein, like, Hal min nasir yansuruni, is there any helper who will help me? They reject it. This Hal min nasir was not said by Hussein only in Karbala. Even in Mecca, in Medina, he has said this word, but not in this form, in different form. He used to ask people, oh people, if you can help me, you have to. Otherwise, your life will be destroyed. You will not get a chance to have an experience of a happiness in this world. It's happened. Among these people, when he was in Imam Hussein al-Islam, he used to Mecca, people of Mecca, especially the great people who were, famous people in Mecca, they used to come to Hussein and visit him. People like Abdullah ibn Zubayr, Abdullah ibn Umar, and some other great, companion of the Prophet, they used to go and visit Hussein. And used to tell him, oh Hussein, well, what are you doing and where are you going? Hussein used to inform them about his mission. Of course, these people, they could not understand what Hussein was saying. Of course, this was not easy for them to understand because the mission of them was totally different than the mission of Hussein. The mission of Hussein was reforming of the religion of his grandfather. And he was not looking for wealth, he was not looking for this world. And that is one of the special work of one of the scientists, European scientists. Now he's always saying, he says, some people they try just to say Hussein was looking looking for this war, the pleasure of this war. He was going to get a position, but unfortunately he could not win, so he just killed, he was killed by the enemy, finished. And he himself says, if that is the case, just give me the answer. Why Hussein took his family, all of children with him, if he was looking for a pleasure of this dunya? Even the scientists, the scholar of the European, now they realize, unfortunately, our Muslim brothers, some of them, still they cannot understand. So, the mission of Hussein was totally different. Hussein told them, if you can help me, help me. Otherwise, you will have an experience of very, very bad life, and the life under the humiliation. But some of them just refused. We are not going to open the history here. Just tell you an example. Among these people, one of the great person who claimed that he is a companion of the Prophet, and he had a very, very good name, and everybody knows him, respected him a lot. He said, "Oh Hussein, I know that you will be killed, but I cannot help you because I have something to do in Medina. I have to go to Medina. But I know that how much Prophet loves you." See the answer? He said, "I know how much Prophet loves you. So, if I cannot help you, please let me kiss your chest." See, that's the maximum thing which he was looking for. So Imam just opened some part of his clothes, showed the chest or some part of the body, then he kissed this part and then he goes. Imam goes towards Karbala, and the event of Karbala has happened. After 20 years, imagine this person who just tried to kiss the chest of Hussein, but he could not help him because he was looking for his life. He thought he will be alive forever. After 20 years, Hussein is died, became shaheed, he got his own position in front of Allah, whatsoever. Some governor of Kufa has changed. Ubaydullah ibn Ziyad, and afterwards there's lots of people, until the time of Hajjaj ibn Yusuf al-Saqafi. He was the governor of Kufa. He was the representative of the Bani Umayyah, the Khalifa of Bani Umayyah or Bani Marwan. At that time, they attacked Medina as well, after many times, because Medina was attacked after Karbala many times. One day, this person whose name was Abdullah ibn Umar, who was outside of the city, is the person who was asked by Hussein to help Hussein, but he denied, he refused, he rejected, he did not help, and Hussein told him, if you are not helping me, you will get a humiliation, you will be under the humiliation forever. This person, when he just came from outside the city, he came to the city, then he realized, oh my God, the enemy, Hajjaj ibn Yusuf, attacked the people of Medina, and many of the people were killed, and the body were hanged on trees. The body were hanged on trees. Then he realized, oh, now it's a very bad situation. He immediately, imagine, the person who is not ready to shake hand, Hussein, the grandson of the Prophet, how his situation will be after a while, to what kind of job he's going to do. He immediately goes to the governor, to the house of the governor, means to the place of the where Hajjaj ibn Yusuf were there. It wasn't. He goes to that place, the palace of the government. Knocked the door. Of course, the security of the palace asked him, who is he? He introduced himself. Of course, the people who could know him very well, because he was a very well-known person at that time. He said, I'm Abdullah ibn Umar. What are you doing here this night time? He said, I'm going to visit HUJATUL Yusuf. Let me tell you who is HUJATUL. HUJATUL was a person in one day, according to some narrators, in one day 20,000 innocent people were killed by him. This is a person. And this was, his position was by a result of cursing of Imam Ali alayhi salam. Imam Ali alayhi salam, when he was asked, he asked people just to support him, to go with him to the jihad, they refused him. Imam said, oh Allah, please bring my debts and replace me with a very, very bad place. And then HUJATUL was replaced in Kufa. So imagine, this HUJATUL was in his house. This person knocked the door, said, I'm going to visit HUJATUL. What are you doing? What is your purpose to visit? I'm going to talk to HUJATUL. Okay, then they went inside, informed HUJATUL. Oh HUJATUL, Ya Amir, oh Commander, there is a man. He is a companion of the Prophet. He was he's a very well-known person. He is very famous. And he wants to visit you. He said, no, it's too late. It's night time. I'm going to take rest. And he said, well, he insisted us to inform you. Then HUJATUL said, tell him what is his mission, what he's going to talk to me, what he's going to talk about. And then this person, Abdullah ibn Umar, said to that security guard, please inform, look at the way of humiliation. This is the prediction of Hussein. 20 years before told to this man that such a case will happen to you. If a person who is not the man of his own time will be like that, this situation is like this. So it said to the security guard, please, I beg, inform HUJATUL that I came to shake hands with him and do bay'ah with him and accept him as my imam. Accept HUJATUL as my imam. The person who refused accept Hussein ibn Ali ibn Abi Talib as his imam, now his situation is in the case that he is ready to shake hands with HUJATUL with his sword, his bleeding of the blood of innocent people. He said, I'm going to shake hands, do bay'ah allegiance with HUJATUL. Then HUJATUL was laughing. He said, oh, I know this person. But, now I'm so tired. I cannot stand up. Imagine. Let him go in. Let him in. So the person goes in. He went inside. HUJATUL was under the blanket. Was sleeping. The blanket was there. And even he could not stand. Even he did not reply his salam. Okay? When he asked him, the person, Abdullah ibn Umar said, As-salamu alayka ya Amir al-Mu'minin. Imagine, if a person, he refused to say Hussein ibn Ali as an Amir al-Mu'minin. Not only as an Amir al-Mu'minin, he knows that's how much the Prophet loves him, and he knows that this body is blessed by the Prophet. That's why he kissed his chest, the chest of Hussein. This person, he refused to help him because he was afraid of death. That is the ayah of the Quran says, In kuntum awliyaullah, fatamannaw al-maut. Hussein, because Hussein told them, everybody knows that whoever goes with Hussein, death is waiting for them. Whoever goes with Hussein, death is waiting for them. But he refused. Now is the time to get his reward. You know what Hajjaj said to him? Hajjaj said to him, you know, I was so busy today because I killed a lot of people. I cannot stand, I cannot sit and shake hands with you. If you want to do bay'ah, please kiss my feet. So the person shake hand, put his hand on his feet and kiss the foot of Hajjaj. Instead of being with Hussein and being among the shuhada of Karbala. Yes. This is a chance. But the chance always never comes. Sometime you will get a chance. This from the side of the people who claimed they are not following of Hussein, they were not like friends of Hussein. But we have a people who were claimed that the Shia of Hussein, again, they were not right as well. Because they could not make a decision on time. Many of the Shia of Kufa, they were against the Hussein. They used to call the Shia of Hussein, and they were against Hussein. How? Because of the money. Because they were looking for the life. They thought the life will be given for them forever if they are with Hussein. Maybe after 2 days, 3 days, everything will be finished. But if they go for Yazid, the life will be forever. And that is why when some people came from Kufa, and between Kufa and Mecca, they met Hussein alayhi salam, the caravan of Hussein. Imam Hussein alayhi salam used to ask them, oh man, you came from Kufa. We are going to the Kufa to visit people of Kufa, because the people of Kufa, they invited us to be their Imam. How is the situation of the Kufa? You know what was the answer of these people who came from the Kufa? Kufa means Iraq. Right now it is Iraq. The answer was like that. قلوبهم معك سيوفهم عليك. Qulub is the plural form of qalb. Means people of Kufa, their heart is with you. Their heart are with you. Suyuf, safe, plural of safe. Safe means sword. Suyufhum alayk. Their sword is against you. Means they love you, but they take sword to kill you. How come? How come? How is our situation right now? Definitely قلوبنا مع Hussein. Definitely our heart is with Hussein. We love Hussein. Whether we are Sunni, Shia, it doesn't matter. Because people, everybody, they love Ahlul Bayt. Unless they are munafiq. Because there's a hadith that says, if people, they don't like Ahlul Bayt, either they are Nasibi or munafiq. Or something wrong with their nutfa, their sperm. That's the case. If we don't like Ahlul Bayt, it means something wrong with our sperm. We have hypocrites. Definitely. So most of the Muslims, most of them, Shia, Sunni, they love Ahlul Bayt. But only to love is not enough. Love is not enough. Many of people in Kufa, they loved Hussein, they cried for Hussein, but at the same time their sword was against Hussein. The thing which they had was against Hussein. Now how is our situation? Why they were like that? Because they were not ready for death. Why? Because they thought this life is forever. We are going to stay forever. If that is the case, we are going to be like these people. We know what is the truth, but we are not going to follow. Of course, this person who just followed, who tried to kiss the chest of Hussein, definitely he knows Hussein is right path, isn't it? Definitely he knows. But why he did not help Hussein? Because he was looking for a power. Some of them, like Abdullah ibn Zubayr, he came with power afterward. After the death, after the Shahada of Imam Hussein, Abdullah ibn Zubayr, he was the governor of Mecca. And some other. So, according to the lesson which we can get from Hussein, that is a bless for us. It depends how we encounter, how we face it with it. Sometimes we find death as a bless, but sometimes other form we think death is one of the worst things which we are going to face. This is your option to choose. Another lesson which I just want to mention and finish is never too late for repentance. Perhaps some people, they did not make a right decision on time. Okay? They did not make a proper decision, a right decision on time. Like the people of Kufa. Among them, the leader of them was Sulaiman ibn Surad al-Khuzai. So he was a great scholar of the Ahlul Bayt Shia, scholar of Kufa, but he could not make a right decision. He could not help Hussein. And some other people like Mukhtar bin Saqafi, and some other people who could not, and some of them either they were in prison or some of them they could not make a right decision on time. But after the death, Shahada of Imam Hussein and some, they stood against the Yazid immediately. But some still, they can fight. Sulaiman ibn Surad al-Khuzai was one of the great shaheed after the Shahada of Hussein. He was the leader of Tabbabin. Tabbabin is the plural form of repentant. So it's never too late for repentance. Among these people we have Hurr ibn Yazid al-Yaqi. You know the story of Hurr. Hurr was a commander, one of the great and big commander of Yazid, of the army of Sa'ad. He was the first person who stood against Yazid, against Imam Hussein alayhi salam, and did not allow Imam Hussein to go to Kufa. He did not allow him. It caused a lot of problem for Hussein. He was the first person who, destroyed the hope of Hussein and the family of Hussein. So, he could be among the kuffar, he could be among the people who killed Hussein. But imagine, if you realize the right person, immediately you have an action. You have to go to the right person. Don't wait. If you find the right person, don't wait for anything. Go for the truth. It doesn't matter you're going to be alive for more than another 10 years or 20 years. But Hurr, as soon as he realized that, Yazid and Umar al-Sad are not in right, Hussein is right. Although he was the commander of thousands of army, he left everything behind. He just goes to Hussein and asks Hussein, he said, I'm repentant. I regret about my action. I cannot say anything because I was the first one who stood against you, but now I don't want to be with them anymore. Is my tawbah will be accepted or not? My repentance will be accepted or not? Imam said, yes, even your tawbah will be accepted. Then he repented. He asked Hussein, if I do tawbah, if Allah will accept my tawbah, please let me, I will be the first soldier to stand, to fight against Islam. So he was the first shaheed of Karbala. The first person who stood against Hussein, and the first person who was a shaheed of Hussein. This is another lesson for us. Never too late for repentance. But among these shuhada of Karbala, tonight is one of the important nights is the night of Hazrat Abbas. Surely tonight it's a great night. It's a tragic night. We shed tears for Hussein, we shed tears for Abbas. Abbas, who was Abbas? Commander of Hussein. Warrior. Abbas was the captain of the Hussein's army. When Imam Hussein alayhi salam, the night of actually the evening of the Tasu'ah, only one night before Ashura, Shemr, he was, Shem, the person who slaughtered, killed Hussein. He was, Abbas and Shemr family were, the same tribes. So he knew that Abbas is so brave. His brother is so brave. Shemr was thinking that it's very difficult to kill Hussein if Abbas is around him. He was Abbas so brave, son and blind son of Ali. Everybody knows that if Abbas is somewhere, it's very difficult to fight against that group. Because everybody knew that he is exactly like Ali, Haydaric Abbas. So Shem make a plot, said to Al-Sad, give me a chance, I go and invite Abbas. Give him a letter, means a safety letter, and invite them to our company, or to our groups. Al-Sad knew Abbas. He said, oh Shem, what do you think about Abbas? Do you think he will accept your invitation? And Shemr said, let's try. Hussein and Abbas were sitting in a tent. They were talking about tomorrow. What will happen today? Imam Hussein was so sad. He was thinking about the family. Only few people, less than 100 people, from one side. Another side, there were, according to some narrator, more than 30,000 soldiers, wild soldiers. They were looking for everything. Even now you can imagine how sometimes the people will be wild, just like an animal. They were shouting. And just imagine if you were with your family somewhere and lots of army, other side are ready to attack you and your family, sister, mother, children. Hussein prepared everything, but only for the sake of Allah. Otherwise Hussein could go and go for his pleasure life. They were talking to each other. Suddenly, they have heard a voice calling them where are my nephew? I'm calling my nephew. So Shaman called himself as a khal, as an uncle of Abbas. So he called his nephew, means Abbas and 3 brothers of him, the children of al-Banin. His mother's name was al-Banin. al-Banin is the mother of sons, 4 children. Abbas said, "Oh, Jafar." Imam Hussein said to look at Abbas and said, "Aren't you going to answer your uncle?" Because they respected the family, the tribe. Imam Hussein, as Abbas felt shamed, just put his head down. Shame. Again, the calling said, "Where is my nephew?" Imam asked Abbas, "Oh, Abbas, go outside. Answer him. Although you don't like him, but answer him." Abbas came out. Allahu Akbar. It's called Qamar Bani Hashim. Qamar means the moon of Bani Hashim. He was so beautiful, handsome. So handsome, tall, brave. He came out. Shama asked him, "Oh Abbas, I brought you a letter. With that means you are safe. If you join to our group, you will be safe." And then Abbas shocked him and said, "Down on you! You want me to be saved while my beloved brother are going to be killed. The children are crying. 3 days they have no water, they are thirsty. You ask me to come and join you." And then came back. This night, the Tasu'a is one of the significant nights in the case of Ashura, in the event of Karbala. Because everybody was, all the children, they were confident. They were so relaxed that they knew that their uncle is a head of commander, the commander of also the uncle of Abbas is alive. The day of Ashura. When Ashura came, imagine how the companion of Hussein were polite and they loyalty. You can see the loyalty. All of them, Habib ibn Alaya, Zuhair ibn Aqim, Muslim ibn Sajjad, and Burayd, some other, they gathered together. You know what did they say? They say, "Oh people," especially Habib ibn Alaya. He said, "Oh people, remember, as long as any of us are alive, we never allow the children of Hussein to go for fight, to go for battle, to war. First, we have to sacrifice our life. If we die, it's leave it for Hussein, whatsoever he wants to do. But as long as we are alive, we never allow Hussein to go for battle. If we are alive, we never allow Ali Akbar to go for battle." The day of Ashura, all of the companions, they martyred, became shaheed. According to Shahid Mutahari, as he mentioned, he said, as soon as all companions were killed, martyred, there was a movement among the tent, among Hussein and the family. Everybody was looking to get a permission from Hussein to go for battle, to start the fight. Ali Akbar, who among them was the first who could cut the permission from Hussein. He came to his father and said, "Oh father, are you going to allow me to go to fight against this enemy of Prophet, enemy of Islam?" You know what was the answer of Hussein? Imam Hussein alayhi salam replied and said, I have no problem. If you want to go, go. But you know, whenever we missed Prophet, we used to call you to walk around, just we want to see, please, before you go, walk a little bit. I just want to see. I want to feel that I'm a father. I cannot leave you to go, I cannot let you go without seeing you properly. So Ali Akbar goes. But he felt that somebody is reciting something. He goes back, his father, and says, Umar Sa'ad, قَطَعَ اللَّهُ رَحِمَكَ كَمَا قَطَعْتَ رَحِمِي مِنْ عَلِي. O Umar Sa'ad, Allah cut your generation, which you cut my generation from the side of Ali Akbar. Ali Akbar is coming. He fighted, very beautiful fight. After that, some other, but the time is for Abbas. Imagine, if a person is a weak person, he always escaped from the fire. But a person like Abbas, always looking for a permission, but he could not get a permission. Whenever he goes to Hussein, he asks, oh brother, oh my master, am I allowed to go for fighting? The Imam said, please, be more patient. After a while, for a long time, then Imam Hussein said, oh Abbas, can you go and bring some water for my children? For 3 days they are thirsty. Look at the Sukaina, look at the Ruqayya, look at my our sister Zainab, they are crying of the thirst. Can you go and bring the water for them? Imam said, okay. He took the mash. Mash means the thing that something like butter was made by leather. He took the mash just to fill this mash with water. He goes and he rides the horse. In one hand, he took the flag, which is called Alam of Karbala, the flag of Karbala. It means Hussein, Abbas is the captain, is the Alamdar. Alamdar is flag bearer. The person who bears the flag with him. He took the flag in one hand. Another hand, he put a steel and mash. He goes towards France. People of army of Umar said they knew Hussein, they knew Abbas. They know they cannot fight with him. He goes inside the front, filling the mash with the water. He was thirsty for quite a long time, 2-3 days. He puts his hand under the water. Look at the loyalty of the brother to his brother. Not only to his brother, to his master, to his the beloved person, what we can call it. He put his hand under the water. Brought the water up to close to his mouth. He almost was going to drink the water, then he remembered. Oh, he thought to himself, oh, Abbas, are you going to drink the water? The children of Hussein are thirsty for 3 days. Are you going to drink the water? Oh, Hussein, your beloved master, your beloved brother is thirsty. He poured the water on the water. Then he came out. He came out right the hose. He goes towards the tent of Hussein. He's happy. That's it. Alhamdulillah. I'm going to give water to his thirsty people. Then he saw the army came around. from every direction. They came to different direction. They showed him. He tried to defend himself. He had only steers. He defended himself, but suddenly a man came from behind. He took his sword and put his sword on the shoulder of Abbas. And his God, he used to say, Wallah, in qata'tum yamini, inni uhawmi abadan an dini. He said, I swear to Allah, if you cut my right hand, again still I will defend the deen of the religion of the Prophet with my left hand. Another time, another person, he put a sword on his left shoulder. He gripped the water, the man with his teeth. He used to support, he used to defend himself with a spear. But suddenly, an arrow came, directly goes to his eyes. No hands. Imagine, can you imagine a person is riding? He is going to fall from the horse to the ground, to the earth. No hand to protect him. The tears, the tears in his eyes. When he fell, what will happen to him? Suddenly the army, the other people came. They surrendered to him and they shot him with lots of arrows and they put him, they tore him in pieces. Then he said, Ya Akha, his brother. He put his head on his lap. He was talking to Hussein. He said, he was talking to Abbas. He said, Al-an inkasara dhahri wa ballat hilati wa Abbas, my back is broken. Now my back is broken. I have no any support. Now I can make myself ready for this. Because if there is no Abbas, there is no captain, there is no commander, there is no hope for my tent, there is no hope for my children. Then Abbas said, Oh Hussein, there is only one thing I want to ask you. Hussein said, Oh my dear brother, please tell me what you want. I'm ready. What can I do for you? Abbas said, please my brother, can you remove the blood from my eyes? I want to see you once again now. اللهم إنا نسألك وندعوك باسمك اللطيف الأعلى العظيم الجلال الأكرم إلهي بحق حجتنا الحساب وبدم المظلوم كربلاء يا الله يا الله يا الله يا الله يا الله يا الله يا رحمن يا رحيم يا جواد يا كريم يا مقلب القلوب ثبت قلوبنا على دينك فاهدنا يا قاضي الحاجات ويا قاضي الحمات انك مجيب الدعوات انك على كل شيء قدير رحمك